What's up, guys? Koma here. So today we have the SSS Splitgate or Soul Splitgate School. My bad. So today we are covering Sabrask. It's a bit late to be covering Sabrask as the alpha is over, but I still have all the ton of information and even gameplay for that matter. Um, at least a little bit of gameplay. I didn't play a whole lot of Sabrask, but still, I have some Sabrask footage. So you'll be seeing it around the screen wherever I decide to post my camera. So we'll be covering all the weapons, of course, much like before, perks, equipment, etc. Starting off with the weapons, or actually not even with the weapons, with Sabrask as a whole. Um, we have the team trait stockpile, which I generally do think this is the weakest link to Sabrask. It's an awful perk, specifically team wise, because it only gives you one extra magazine of ammo, and it's not really worth it. And then you have the smart wall, which of course does exactly what the smart wall says it's supposed to do, and that's throw up a transparent barrier that you're able to walk through, shoot through, and pretty much everything in between. So basically, you can throw down the smart wall, and it's kind of like a curved, almost like a Titan barricade if you've ever played Destiny 2, and you can walk through it. It's worth noting that with this barricade, that people can portal through it, and you can walk between it, and the barricade and the smart wall works in both ways. So if you walk through it and someone shoots you in the back, you can walk through it, and the smart wall will stop any bullet from going through it both ways, which is very unique. Destiny 2 barricades have this idea, but it's worth noting that they can walk through completely unharmed, and you can not really do anything against them if they decide to melee you. So you pretty much have to melee or shoot back. So again, the team trait stockpile, not really worth it, but cool, it's there if you're playing Sabrask. Now, going to their weapon, first of all, we have the Trailblazer Assault Rifle. It's worth noting that all the Sabrask weapons are really hard hitting weapons. Specifically, the Warden and the Trailblazer are kind of their offset compared to the other weaponry that we actually get to see in the alpha. Um, so Trailblazer is the hardest hitting assault rifle. It's the slowest and hits hard. And realistically, all the weapons in Sabrask are very sluggish. So you can really build into these weapons in 2 to 3 different ways. I think there's mainly 2 different ways you can build into it. The main one being you can build into rapid fire and all the other bits to really increase this weapon's efficiency. So in most cases, I always ran rapid fire with extended mag, or I think sometimes I always ran rapid fire with grip on the Trailblazer, simply to kind of help the gun compete against some of the other weapons, mainly because this weapon really can't um, go against some of the faster fire rate weapons, say the Sprinter or something like that. In fact, there are times where I couldn't get out enough bullets to kill somebody, and they kill me in 3 shots with the carbines, specifically the Arrows carbines, or a burst and a half of the Meridian burst rifle. So in most cases, I always ran the more Trailblazer with rapid fire, fast mag, just to be able to simply get into the gunfights much easier and kind of get out of the gunfights much faster as well. So moving on to the Warden carbine. So this is a very unique precision rifle, and it is the only rifle to basically be able to two-tap headshot. Now, supposedly, the Arrows Cadence Carbine can also two-tap to the head, but it has to be a very close range, and hitting headshots at that range, I wouldn't say is impossible, but it's unlikely that you're going to be hitting headshots. But thankfully, the Warden really enables you to do that. In fact, you can even add this up to be even better with the impact modification or attachment for your weapons. So basically, you can put the impact rounds onto the Warden, and you can one headshot, one body shot kill enemies. Um, this is extremely strong as long as you're really sitting back and understand how to use this weapon. Again, it's very sluggish. The reload is very slow because you have to like take the mag out and you put the mag in, and then like you shove it in, and then you're done. But like, or I think it's like you put the mag in and it like retracts the mag into the gun. But if you have fast mag, it's like you put mag there, click button, loads, and you're good to go. But these guns really load really slowly, so you're obviously wanting fast mag. And I don't think I ran fast mag for a majority of the time. That I was actually playing Warden. I think it's specifically the gameplay that y'all are seeing in the background. I ran impact modification and rapid fire because unfortunately the slow speed that this weapon has, I can't really compete against some of the faster firing weapons, especially some of the faster firing carbines, especially the Meridian Quantum Burst Rifle. The thing is too fast for this gun to really keep up. But in reality, I don't think this gun should be two tapping. So let me explain. In Halo, we specifically have a sandbox where everything kind of has its own unique damage profile. And specifically looking at Splitgate 2, you can kind of compare the tempo and the Synapse assault rifles compared to one another, right? They're relatively similar rifles. The damage profiles aren't too crazy split from one another. The only difference is the how they're utilized in the faction kit is completely different. But the Trailblazer alone kind of has a unique damage profile. And what it's not necessarily negative, it's kind of like a positive because it's almost a breath of fresh air. And even in this case, it's kind of a skill gap too. But when you look at the Warden, you instantly start seeing an issue. Specifically in the case that this could really be considered a power weapon. Because if you're using this at long range as if it's almost like a sniper rifle, especially with Sabrask and a lot of the anti portal shenanigans that Sabrask can actually do, you start to see a whole lot more issues arise with this gun where you could sit really far back, throw up your smart wall, sit behind your smart wall. If you have smoke grenades, you can smoke off certain areas, so portals are not utilized, and we'll talk about that later. But still, it's very oppressive sometimes. And again, I think this weapon should really just be a cadence carbine too. Make it a little bit slower, make people build it differently, and just slight difference. But at the same time, really make it to where headshots matter with this gun. I think hitting headshots with on a two tap weapon should be the key reason why most people use it. Um, I'll be discussing more feedback and stuff later on, whenever we get around to it. But I quickly just want to do this video. But yeah, if I'm going to be able to two tap somebody, both headshots need to be a two tap. I should not be able to get two tap, one headshot, one body. That should not just be a thing. Okay, enough of that little rant over. Let's go to the plow. So the plow is the Sabrask shotgun, which stands out apart from the Charger shotgun from Meridian that I covered in the last Soul Splitgate School episode. So when we look at the plow, it's kind of the same thing. The only difference here is that the Charger has a little bit of a charge up time. Meanwhile, the plow is kind of your typical pump action shotgun. Now, supposedly, thanks to Code Phoenix, you're able to actually, if you can manage to pick up your weapon that you dropped the previous life, so if you can dual weld plows, you can almost do the classic like Fortnite double pump shotgun style. So you can shoot and then swap to another shotgun, shoot, swap to another shotgun and shoot, basically without the need of like pumping the gun itself. Typically, I ran this with you could do barrel extension and laser sight, which basically tightens the spread and also increases the range. So you basically almost turn this thing into a slug shotgun, enabling you to get further to tap kills with the plow. Um, Basically, it's a really potent weapon. It makes me even question whether or not I want shotguns to be in this slot to begin with. They're very strong in the right hands. That is, if you know how to utilize portals, if you know how to utilize your smart wall, and even your everything else in between the kit, it can be a really potent, deadly weapon. So let's go to the oh my god, I can't speak this episode. Okay, future coma. I forgot to record the slinger side of this video. Basically, I'll cover the slinger real quick. It's the kind of this game's equivalent of the Halo CE magazine. Has the lowest magazine for any sidearm. Once again, I just run fast mag with this thing as I don't see much of a reason to run anything else. But this thing does hit hard and it is kind of reliable. I have noticed it does have a projectile kind of like trail to it, but it hits nothing like a projectile. So you don't need to like trail your shots or move your shots ahead. You simply kind of aim and you fire, and that is that. So a nice little sidearm, something very useful for your back pocket. Again, reminds me of the CE Magnum, just a little bit harder to use in some cases. Let's go to the sticky nade because this is the primary thing we saw Sabrask using. It's exactly as you expect it sounds like. If you've ever played Halo and the plasma grenade is kind of similar to this thing, you will throw just an explosive grenade, and if it hits a surface, it will stick to a surface. Now, if you stick a player with this grenade, it's almost a guaranteed one shot. I don't know if an Arrows person or Arrows player with the Arrows ability can actually survive one of these. I don't know that, but as far as I know, it just one shot the player from base full health. This can realistically be used however you really want. You can throw it onto hills and basically be like, "Hey, get off the hill," or you can use it in an aggressive way. So you can like throw it, make them back up, and then push in, drop your smart wall, and be able to use your smart wall. Going on to the smoke grenade, which is actually very unique because it brings the idea of portal blocking into the game. So yes, you can still portal block with your portals. In a way, it's a bit weird on how you portal block with your portals, as you need to continuously refresh your portals. If you continuously refresh, your portals have a 3-second invulnerability frame, meaning that if you set a portal, an enemy cannot overlap your portal until it's gone, until that 3 seconds is up. However, the smoke grenade defies this, where if you throw the smoke grenade into any line of sight to a portal wall, no portals can be shot through the smoke grenade. I guess this is something logic at the point of portals are probably some kind of laser or something. And by that logic, the smoke completely cuts that laser because lasers are all about light, and maybe smoke somehow, not necessarily reflects it, but dissipates that light. And it's also worth noting anyone within the smoke grenade also has their radar completely clouded over. So it's almost like the shroud screen from Halo Infinite, where you throw down the shroud screen, and if you step into the shroud screen, your radar does not work outside, does not pick up anyone outside that shroud screen, so you can kind of lurk in there and be kind of a little goblin. So the smoke grenade is a very potent ability, especially when you're using on a map like Frontier, where you can basically smoke off the middle walls that divide the entire middle of the map. And when you smoke off one of those middle walls, it makes the team have a much harder time to basically portal in because they no longer have that initial portal wall from their like original bases to actually be able to push in. It's very potent, it's really strong, and this could be a potentially dangerous zone for Splitgate 2 simply due to how strong this can be. If Sabrask gets a good update and gets a good buff, I think the smoke grenade would be the first thing that they probably are going to look at in terms of balancing. Um, Going into their little abilities, so for one, of course, we have rapid recharge. Rapid recharge is always the kind of like default thing that every faction gets just to allow you to have some more equipment. Now, again, this really does speed up your equipment a ton because if you have smoke grenades, or I think even sticky nades for that matter, no, I think smoke grenades is a better example. If you throw down a smoke grenade, you'll get another smoke grenade by the time your previous smoke grenade has already been pretty much done and over. So extremely strong again. And then if we go over to the other one, which is ammo recycle, basically you kill an enemy and you get extra ammo in your reserves. That's pretty much it. Reminds me a little bit of Destiny 2, where basically you kill an enemy, it drops ammo, you can pick up the ammo, but except for you picking it up, you can just continue on your merry way. You get the kill and you dip. Going on to the next perk selection, you get rapid deployment, which basically increases your time or decreases your time on your smart wall cooldown. So basically, you can use it more often. Now I do think the smart wall does have a lower or has a higher cooldown time than Eros and Meridian's Hypersight, Eros Rush and Meridian's Hypersight. This is pretty noticeable, because I think in my previous video I said Meridian gets Hypersight like 4 to 5 times in a round. I was slightly incorrect. It's like 3 to 4. Not that crazy in terms of like number, but it's still very potent in the case that you can basically just use Hypersight most of the time. And again, you only need one singular you only need one singular like Eros to really get Taskmaster down. And realistically, Taskmaster is kind of the one thing that you need to be able to use it so many times. So the concept is you run one Eros, two Meridians, and one Sabrask, and basically you're able to pretty effectively spam your Hypersight as long as you know like when to coordinate it. So with the Sabrask Smart Wall, it's a slower cooldown, meaning you're not going to get the wall as often as the other ones. Because I think you only get it like, depending on how fast the round is, you only get it once or twice per round. And that's not very great because compared to the other ones where they have their abilities uptime so high, it's not great. And it's hard to keep this smart wall up. So if that's something that, Sabrask needs help with, I would highly recommend that. And going on to the final perk, we have Heavy Punch. Now, Heavy Punch increases your melee damage. Now, I haven't played with this very much, but Code Phoenix has. And Code Phoenix has messed around with the melee forever in the alpha, because he was very curious about momentum kills. And yes, momentum kills are back. Heavy Punch would help you guarantee some cases of momentum kills, but it's not necessary for momentum kills, as I've gotten momentum kills as Meridian and Eros. Now, what does Heavy Punch do? Well, as far as we're aware, the game has defaulted to a 3-hit melee. Why? I think it's mainly because when you look at the way this game is really structured, you think of it as a competitive shooter in a way. So everything is very highly competitive. Everything's round based. This means that it reduces the snowballing effect. Therefore, if you do a 3-hit melee system, you can basically empower the gunplay over melee. Now, the momentum kills or the momentum melees basically are the risk reward factor of that. So you can get a momentum kill as long as no one really recognizes you, and that's kind of the risk. If you're recognized, you're dead. But with Heavy Punch, it takes your melee from a 3-hit melee to a 2-hit melee. Therefore, you can guarantee the 2-hit melees. And thankfully, the Plow also gets the melee knuckles attachment, so you can swap out one of your attachments and basically reduce the cooldown between your melees, so you can double hit melee even faster. But it also allows you to shoot melee as well, more frequently. So that is generally Sabrask. The conclusion of Sabrask is that it needs a little bit of help. It's not crazy by any means, and how I play it is really just kind of sit back. Um, I like to throw up my smart wall onto doorways. Therefore, doorways aren't as potent of an issue. This is kind of obvious on maps like Zenith. I love playing Sabrask on Zenith. Ozone, it's a bit questionable due to how open Ozone is. It's not really great on Ozone. Frontier, it's kind of good in terms of with the smoke grenade, because the smoke grenade's so potent at blocking off portal pathways and portal routes. So you just throw it in a hallway or at a portal wall, completely block off that portal wall, and make it pretty much irrelevant for a good portion of the zone or the game or whatever. So yeah, that's generally it for the SSS. If you guys have any questions or you want to know anything specific about any of the 3 factions, do let me know in the comment section so I can hopefully give you guys some answers. So if you found this lesson useful, or if you found this, interesting, feel free to share it to your friends through, the share and the link. If you want to stick around for even more lessons as we get more guns going on down in the future, you can subscribe and hit the bell But if you found this informative, you can always just like it as well, help the algorithm a little bit. And yeah, that's generally it. And I will see you guys another time. Adios.